The question is, did you enjoy The Boys Season 4? Because for me, this is just my opinion, some people may disagree. It was the worst season of The Boys so far.
And I have a feeling you guys are gonna agree too.
Hey, maybe people have different opinions, that's absolutely fine, but before we get to that, we've got to do Fact of the Day. Page number 258, fact number
4.
In 1999, a gang of thieves was forced to do community service along a road in Rotherham. The next spring, the daffodils coming into bloom spelt out the words shag and bollocks.
Absolutely right.
As is exactly what Billy Butcher would do.
Oh yeah.
Hey, NarendraTheComic, and
Nonsense,
yes,
eh?
and right now we're going to be doing a quick review of The Boys Season 4 because there were things that we liked, there were a lot of things that we didn't like, and most of the episodes were some of the worst episodes in the entire series so far.
I think you have to look at it from the standpoint that season 1 is like a 9.5 out of 10. Season 2, hitting around the same, a 9, 9.5. Season 3, maybe a 7.58. These are very, very high levels. To have to reach that again is difficult, but this was a fall off.
5.5. I think it got to a point with this franchise and the state it's in now, where in some ways it's become a parody of itself, which is kind of what it was trying to do with the MCU, with the DC movies over the last 5 years, but it's got to this situation now where it's so self-referential that it breaks its own meta trend.
Now, the other side of this season is how badly these characters are being treated. When I think about the main boys, I think of Billy, MM, Frenchie, Kimiko, Huey.
That's it.
Now, of those 5 main guys, Annie is technically in it. We're going to pull her away from
Annie not really in it.
She's
I gotta
she's
be
not
honest.
the boys.
No.
She's like boys plus 1. When I look at those main 5 guys, at least 3 of them had very shitty storylines this season.
Which 3 were they?
Frenchie.
Yes.
I cannot stand it. Now, my problem with Frenchie is that you gave him nothing to work with. You said, I don't really know what to do with his character. Guilt. No problem with that. You can run that guilt train. But you didn't actually give him any time for it. And then throwing in this idea with Colin being like, he's so guilty that he slept with the guy who he killed all of his family. That makes absolutely no sense.
You know, if it was Huey and that was his situation, I'd buy that more. But Frenchie is a trained, paid killer at this point, and has been for decades.
Yes.
The concept that he's just randomly felt this spur of the moment feeling of, oh, I'm just overrun by this unimaginable guilt for all the things I've done. I don't buy it. And then you have MM, where he's kind of an OCD freak, and you saw that in the previous seasons. He has panic attacks in this one, and his character development wasn't exactly bad, but it was almost as if there wasn't a lot of it.
Maybe it's time for me to leave and try to prioritize my family, and then he comes to the understanding that, okay, no, if the world's gonna end, there is no way to prioritize my family. I have to prioritize the world and the boys and what we're trying to do. But the whole season, it felt like people were just stagnating for all of these episodes, and then by the end, it's like, no, we've come to some realization.
And this was the odd thing though, because I feel like the story itself wasn't terrible, but the thing that made the show bad was the character arcs that the writers chose to put forward. There were clear beats, there was clear ideas of where they wanted to go, how they wanted to get there, and the finale was actually good because I thought they were going to go in a really stupid direction. They ended up changing it up a little bit and not doing the thing everyone thought they would do. But I gotta say this, Kimiko is one of my favourite characters in this show. She don't even speak. Well, she spoke at the end.
She did.
But she barely speaks at all. But she has so much heart, so much grit and determination in her. And this feeling of hopelessness and hopefulness at the same time. She's riddled with it. And they just destroyed her in this show. And her relationship with Frenchie got wrecked.
That's one thing I have a problem with, okay? At the end of season 3, there was this idea that maybe Kimiko and Frenchie are finally going to become a thing. They could have figured out their problems by episode 2 of this season. You waited to episode 8 for them to have their little kiss and have their moment. There was actually no reason for it to be like that. And they said, we'll have to throw some things in. Frenchie turns himself in. And then the CIA get him out anyway. It's like, there's no consequences for what you're trying to do. And he's also still trying to kill people because he's trying to kill Soups.
Yeah.
They're still people.
Yeah.
They might be bad people.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like something that they threw in there because flash in the pan, we need him to do something. We need him to have a problem.
It was stupid, let's be clear. It was really, really dumb shit. But then we get on to some good stuff, which is Billy Butcher. The only character on the protagonist side that actually had good shit going on, good development, good structured character work. Huey! By the end of it, I went, wow, he's just come full circle again. He is the humanity in this show. He is the person who is the center and the core, But it took 7 or 8 episodes to get there because they'd done such terrible work with his character throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah, they almost turned him into a light version of Billy. He was willing to do things that he would never have been willing to do in previous seasons. And I understand the stakes were higher and he was going through personal issues with his dad. But it didn't feel at all like Huey. It seemed like they didn't really know what to do with him. And then by the end, they said, no, he's the moral compass. He needs to come back to that. And I'm very glad that they did, but I don't like the journey he's taken.
The route wasn't right, but the end point was the correct decision. So I guess you get 50% of the marks for that.
Fine.
Maybe.
Maybe.
But then we get Homelander. And the guy who plays him, Anthony Starr, that man is actually an insanely good actor.
He is so good.
He is unbelievably good. It's ridiculous how well he puts forward the emotions of insanity and anxiety and stress on his face.
So here's the thing. There's all of those things, but there's also this frailness to him.
Childlike
this
nature.
Childlikeness, unsurety, and this deep insecurity.
And with the 7 in general, I think there was good work done there. The Deep becoming Homelander light, essentially. Being a bit more sure of himself, even though he is a bumbling idiot. Black Noir 2.0, just... I don't even know what to do with that, but he can speak, so there's that.
There is that. In our pre-season finale predictions, when humans are turned into soups with V at a later age, like adulthood, their mental state actually affects the sort of powers they get.
So in a lot of these cases, Starlight wants to be a star. She has light powers, all
then
this
again,
type of shit.
Firecracker also was in the pageant scene.
Yep.
Firecracker, the sort of little pew-pews, that fits
Jubilee.
as well.
It does, doesn't it? Ezekiel, maybe he wanted to be closer to God.
Stretchy.
So the stretchy powers. Huey's dad, phase through. The way he saw himself was he was kind of invisible in the world. Not really being seen. He had these weird type powers. And then, I do think we got the Billy Butcher soup power right. Is that, in our predictions, we said he's going to be a soup killer. Turns out, he's kind of a soup killer.
It's exactly that.
Yep. So we got that one right. We don't get a lot right. But I feel like we aced that one.
We can give ourselves an ace.
So, The Boys Season 4, kind of hit and miss. I would say it's okay, nothing great, nothing special. At this point, we have to watch Season 5 because we've come so far with this show and it's had 3 very good seasons and 1 kind of off one. So, let's see how they wrap it up. It might be great, it might be dog shit. We'll find out in a few years' time and we'll let you know how we feel then.